Okay, so this will be the continuation from yesterday's video. I think we were here. Yeah. And so in this one, I think I will finish teaching how you do the chase scenes, or how you can do it. For this scene, I'm going to go back to the 2D's perspective so that you can see when Thomas pulls up.
One morning, Thomas wouldn't wake up. Driver and fireman couldn't make him start. It was nearly time for the express. People were waiting, but the coaches weren't ready. Hurry up, you, said Gordon. Hurry yourself.
And then just,
Gordon began making his plan.
you should be able to just copy what I'm doing or make it work for your animation if you're following along or watching this video. Then all you need to do is go back to these sprites and then tell them to show, because it should be exactly where they were before this scene was changed. Like this. So from here, you just do the same thing from before, but since he's showing up from the right, you can set his rotation to the left dash right so it doesn't go upside down, and then have him point in the opposite direction, so -90. And he goes to front forever, so you can tell this thing or Percy to go to front so that he doesn't overlap with Thomas. And Thomas can go right here in the middle. I think I should probably, I'll show that later. Tell him to go to -303, -79. And then go to, grab this, go back over here, and then grab this. And you should be able to reuse a lot of the stuff that you already put into your original, put into your project so that you don't have to waste time remaking the same thing that does the same thing. And then just make sure they're all named to the right one. I guess for him, he can show up slower. Or we can do the opposite. No. Yeah, slower. He should a lot slower. So just change the repeat blocks so that he, let's see. So it looks like he's moving in at a slower pace for creepy atmospheric effect, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. So a little far out. That should work. And it should look like this. And then from here, since he's corrupted, we'll say, this is where you can start the chase scene for your scene. Or if you just want to know how to make it animate and move left to right. And then this should, I got a different background so that it matches the scenario they're in, or the setting matches. The setting is accurate. At least for my story. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to, but you can. Just get rid of the blue sky so that the nighttime shows up. And all of the assets that I used, I'll link, or I'll share them in the description. I might, I'll keep it like that for now, but I'll probably change it later. So, now I will teach you how to do a chase scene, or I guess a runaway scene would be more accurate. Now that we already have the moving parts, it should be just as easy as the, well, first you're going to need a runaway theme. You can get that anywhere. I'm going to go to Scratch, then runaway theme. And you can grab anyone you want that you think matches your for your chasing. So we'll just use this one for our example. I'm just going to take this from this project. That way I don't have to mess with the layer. and then you can do the same thing, or you can pick your own song. Then this, and it should work. I'm gonna rename this to Chase Runaway Theme Tutorial. That way, when he shows up, say, wait 1 second, and then you can broadcast the start of the chasing for the music. And then you have a background music for your scene. I'll show you the first scene, and then I'll go back to the lo-fi music. So since I'm Percy, just find the message in the runaway Steve block for the start of the scene, the runaway scene. And then, well, you have to change this. Yeah, don't need that anymore. I am going to need this. Then go back. And then once we get to the thing, I'll show you what you need to do next. So from here, what I usually do is start them off slow, like how an actual train would leave a station, but fast so it looks like, you know, they're in a hurry. And then they can speed up later on, like this. Kinda did this Sonic animation like this too, but it was a little different since that was more complicated. Let's see if this works. Yeah, like that. So and then you can set their max speed so that they can actually be seen. And then that should work for this scene. and just make sure his costumes are doing the same thing, so he doesn't look static while he's moving. Like that. But let me see. Yeah, this should make it look like he's going faster. And then do the same thing for James. And I'm going to turn this off. That way, you don't have to listen to the same music for the entire video. Since they all have the same names in their costumes, you should just be able to take this. Then you can take this, go straight to James, and just put it in like that. I would change it a little bit though, so it doesn't look like they're doing the exact same thing. Forgot James is longer than that. So just increase the, if this happens, just keep building it until he leaves the screen for longer engines or characters. That should work. And then for this scene, technically Percy's supposed to be carrying trucks, so I'll teach you how to add trucks to a train without having to make it complicated. So what I would do is go back here, then go to here. Actually, this should work. This project, then you just take this, and I would grab the entire thing. You can use either one, doesn't really matter. But then you can really use this one. It reminds me of season 1. Grab this. You can grab this. And then what you should do from here is make another costume for this. Take it, and then zoom out, copy it, paste it, and make sure it's even to the truck that you're trying to copy. This also works for any type of rolling stock. And then you just copy it and you paste it again, and it should work like that. I would just make sure it's lined up with the buffers so it doesn't look weird when you actually implement it. And then 4 should be enough. Well, I was gonna add 6, but yeah, 4 should be enough. After that, go to the train, and you just paste it. And then make sure it's lined up to the train's buffers, and then that should be good. And then what you want to do is copy it again so that you don't have to reline it up. Then you just paste it into each one like this. And that's how you get rolling stock or coaches onto different trains. And you can just tell this to hide, and it should work. For this perspective, now that we have the trucks, you can use this, copy it, and paste it. And then what you can do is put it up here so that people can see it, but not too high up. Then have it go to the back like that. Actually, that might have been a bad idea. Yeah, that was... You probably shouldn't do that. Instead, I would line it up and then make it a bit bigger so that people can see it from both angles. Like this. Now I go to the back, and you should be able to see the truck. Now for this, it's going to have to be longer because obviously there's a lot more to get off screen. Let me see. Make sure this is saved. And then from here, just make sure Thomas moves, and then you can move to your next scene. Make sure you change the Y when you're moving the code from the backpack, if that's how you're doing it. And this should work. Yep. Take this. Oh yeah, so tell it to wait so that it's not instant, and it looks more like they're being chased rather than just traveling with them. And if you find this interesting, there's Henry's coal is what's in these trucks, and then that's important for the actual series, but I'm not going to tell you why, because that would be a spoiler. But you can probably figure it out on your own if you really want to. From here, you should go to the last engine that left this screen, so you can broadcast the next scene. Like this. And I'll show you how I do the 3D perspectives for when they move, or when they're moving forward. I guess technically it's still 2D, just it's from the face. Then tell this to hide, and the other thing to hide. Redo. Then tell this thing to hide. And then from here, go back to this sprite. Background, that's what that stands for. And just have it show. Except this time, you'll want to make it so that it runs through each costume. Like that, but not all of them, since one of them is empty. So I would go to this one, and then you can just do it like this. And then you count the amount of costumes from there, and there's 8, so it only needs to repeat 7 times before restarting entirely. This way it won't interfere with the other thing, and it should be easy to use. See? This can repeat for a little bit. So I don't know how long the scene is going to be. And then from here, since they're currently in a chase, I'll make this font like, you can change their faces to match the scene. So I'll come back when James's and Percy's face are a bit different. This is what I meant when I said you can use their different faces for different scenes. Or get different faces from like Silver Fallout projects and then use them in other projects like it for dire situations. So it matches the scene. I'll just this. Put them here. I think that music was copyrighted. Gosh dang it. I'll probably edit that part out. But basically what I was saying is you can go to a Soldier Fallout project and then add in a different face so that it matches. I'm going to get rid of this. Well, no, I'm just going to take this. There's two of these. Take this. Paste this here. Make it smaller. Then change this to this. Do the same thing with his other. Flip that, and then do the same thing with his other eyeball to make him look more determined. Like this. Can do the same thing with him. Well, I guess for his face, he'll look more scared. That way his face looks more concerned. Let's go back to this. Copy that, paste it to this, get rid of it. Wrong face. Actually, you know what? This should be good enough. this should work for his face. I wonder. There. That way it looks more realistic. Ish. Anyway, from here, all you need to do is this, since he was on this side, except switch his costume to the one where he's freaked out a little. And then have him, how you get it to look like it's moving forward rather than just doing this. Because yeah, it looks like it's going backwards, but it doesn't look like it's really, he doesn't really look like he's moving. So to fix that, you should add a change Y by 2 usually works. Then you go back and set this to 0.05 and then change it by -2. And then put that there, have it go here, and it should work. That way it looks like he's moving with the scene. It's not awkwardly silent. So just add the same thing to James. That should work. Switch his costume to the second one. And go back to Percy's. Steal this. Put it here. And then that should be good. And make sure you save your project if you're on Turbo Board. That is not what I want. Like that. Then when you can pick either one of them, but when they stop jumping up and down, you can have it go back to a 2D perspective. And then this is how you continue chasing. Then go back to sprite 1, or your background sprite and have it reshow. So this time you're going to change the costume. So I'll choose Wellsworth 4. It should look like this. And then if you want, you could also add other characters to this scene, like, let's say, like this. Let's say you want to add him. As like a background character. What you would do is take this, go to Turbo Work, or if you're on Scratch, just put in your backpack. Go here. Go to the inside, take it. Then you can put him inside the project. Get rid of everything inside of it. Get rid of this. Then easy thing for this scene. Let's say he was set the size to 50, and he was going this way. So that makes sense to the scene. You can make it look like, see, let's go back. You can have it look like he crashed. And you only need to do this for that to work. So just have him switch costume to left 8. And go to here. Tie and then show. same thing with these guys, if you want. This way, it doesn't look like he's just there for no reason. Even though, I guess you could make an argument that it is the apocalypse, and he'd be trying to survive, so he does have a reason to be there. I like it when they, it looks like they're trying to carry something, and they got caught off guard by the current apocalyptic situation. It makes it feel more realistic, I guess. So that's why I set up like this. And that should make the scene look more vivid. Yeah, just like that. And then go to, for the next scenes to work, you'll need to go back to, let's say, Percy. And we wanted it to work for him. All you need to do is duplicate this since we already did it. Then go back to the message that continues the story, click it, and then line up his wheels with their track, so it makes sense. So let's set him to -257x and -95y. And then since he's already gauged his speed, you can just set this to something a lot faster, like 16. That way. You don't have to. That way you don't have to reduplicate the same block over and over again. That is too fast. Then go to this, raise it, switch this to this, and then I guess you could change this to that if you wanted it to look like he's going at full speed. Might have to increase the length of that so that it actually looks like he's moving. I wonder. Alright, I guess that works. Might not need to repeat 40 times though. Also, the size for, depending on where the engine is, should matter. So he's 50 because he's up here, so it looks more realistic. And then Percy would be 50 since he's closer to the viewer. Just tell him just to make sure it doesn't overlap with anything. Then we'll do the same thing with James, and that'll be the end of this video. I have to reset his size. He's way too big for the scene. But yeah, I will continue this later, or continue the series later. That should be all for now. Set James to here. And James is faster than Percy. That should work. And that should be it for today. So make sure you save it if you're on Turbo Work. Last thing I need to check is this. Okay, that works. That'll be it for today, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Not what I want to do.